And guess what? It's time for Tomato Talk. I love saying that. Unbelievable. Time for Tomato Talk. Yes, today on Tomato Talk, we're talking about things that are on the top of mind that help us advance, continue to advance through those obstacles that we face. Isn't that the case? Isn't it really truly the case that no matter what it is, there's always something that goes wrong, something that's unexpected, something that doesn't work out, something we want to improve on, something that we just want to do, something somewhere, someplace that we want to get to. And it's like, oh, I can't do that. Don't know how to do that. Don't have the money, don't have the knowledge, don't have the time, don't have the support, don't have the don't have the whole bunch of different things. Yet, yet, no matter what it is, the word determination seems to come up. I've been watching a whole bunch of YouTube videos. Let me put on the comments over here. So I can see what's going on. That'd be fine. Oh, good. Oh, they all good. Nobody's commented. That's fine. That's an obstacle too, isn't it? Isn't it? I mean, how do we promote this thing? Well, there's an obstacle for you. So how do you learn about that? Easy. Have somebody on that does social media promotion, and boom, make it work that way. But that word that keeps coming up time and time again has got something to do with never ever giving up, determination. Keep your head straight. Keep moving forward. Work through those failures. Don't forget. Don't remember. Don't forget when you fall. And this I'm going to give to Darren LaCroix. You fall forward. He won the international speech contest a while ago with that fall forward speech. Give him a lot of credit. Put up a couple of good things about Toastmasters too. The other thing he said was that it's a good place to fail. Do you have an environment where it's a good place to fail? Got to ask you that. Or are you confident enough to fail? Got to have that. Because if you're not confident enough to fail, guess what you're going to do? Quit. If you don't have the support team around you, could be one person, could be 3, 5, 10, could be 100 people, whatever it is that you need. But if you don't have that support team around you, it's so easy to just say, forget it. I'm done. Can't do it. Don't want to move on. Just don't want to do it anymore. Too much work. Too much of a challenge. Too much effort. Too much everything. Huh. And how do I know these things? I've said every one of these things. This is that moment. I need to get a mirror over here because this is those moments that we look in the mirror and say, man, I just, it's like, really? What am I doing? Am I qualified to do this? Ooh. There's a networking meeting I went to one time. Talked about that thing that is common to all of us. So they went around the room. It was my first time at this meeting, too. It was pretty unique. But went around the room, and it was all digital. Went around the room, and they'd ask people, like, what's your biggest challenge that you have? And you want to know, and it really surprised me, too. But the imposter syndrome came up. I'm thinking, what exactly are they talking about? Imposter syndrome. This is a networking meeting, right? This is a networking event. This is a place where we talk about those things that we're good at, not those things we're having problems with, especially the personal things we're having problems with. And it was not a closed meeting, so it was open, and I was not the only guest. So it was very much an open forum on this one. I give a lot of credit to the folks that put this group together because they had to pick the right people. They wanted to be transparent. What a great thing that is. Wanted to be fully transparent what they're doing. But they spoke about this imposter syndrome, and I was like, what are they talking about? Imposter syndrome. I know what an imposter is, right? You're faking it. You're making believe something. You're an imposter. You're not really who you are. And the syndrome? Well, they started talking about it. A couple of people nodded their head and said, yes. Yes. And I was probably one of them too. And like, well, the thought there is that I'm not really good enough. I don't see myself as being good enough to do what it is that I'm doing. I'm like, wow, that was said out loud? That was a surprise, truly a surprise. But you want to know something? It was very refreshing to hear because as we continue to move forward, we continue to do things that perhaps we never thought we'd be able or capable of doing. And then we do them. Like, oh my God, was that really me? Did I really just do that? Did I say yes to that and then do it? Yes. And then go ahead and say, oh my gosh, and I'm good at this one. Say, oh yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Fine. And they're like, what did I just agree to? And that got me on a comedy stage. I was like, yeah, absolutely. What a great way to get more confident when you're speaking. Get on a comedy stage, stand up in front of 100, 150 people, and then try to make them laugh and come to the realization when you did that, you're like, oh my gosh, what am I crazy? I'm not funny. Didn't take me too long to realize that. I could tell stories, but I'm not funny. Where does the funny come from? I don't know. But I got on that stage. I was nervous. Oh, you bet I was nervous. And I just did it. I just did it. And what I did, I just did it. There you go. Here's a just word for you. Just did it. But I was so, well, you know what? It's funny. I don't know if I was that nervous. I was nervous getting on stage. But when I was on stage, when I was actually on that stage looking out at that audience, I was good there. But then again, I had to start speaking. And there became, well, the problem of the day. I had to start speaking, and I was like, I didn't know. Well, I couldn't get the microphone down. So I just kind of lived in the moment and made fun of the fact that the microphone was up there. And then they laughed. And then from then on, I completely forgot my routine and just kept on going with the whole thing. It did okay. Wasn't great, but I did okay. But when I got done, I was like, did I really do that? Was I able to be up there for that 8 to 10 minutes and really do this thing? And the answer was yes. And I got compliments. I mean, there were a few friends over there, so no matter what I did, I would have gotten a few compliments, meaningful or not. But that imposter syndrome is really there. I said, man, did I really do that? And I did it again. Therein lies that aspect of it. But in business, don't we have that same thing? If we continue to move ourselves beyond what it is that we're capable, no, beyond what it is that we think we are capable of doing, and then we achieve a new level of something, do you have the confidence in you to say, yes, absolutely, I was able to do that? I knew I could do that? Or deep down in the back of your mind, you got that little imposter thing going on. And it's possible. It's possible. But then the question really is like, what do you do with that? Well, in that case, with getting on a comedy stage, maybe this is a poor example, but whatever. But getting on that comedy stage, it was like, I did it again. And then I realized that I could do that. I can get on the stage. And then that satisfied that need and desire, quite a bit over there. And I took an improv class. That was a whole lot of fun. That was a different world rather than that prepared speech. But boy, that was something. I could give you an exercise story, same thing, right? Recent, we're not recent anymore. Actually, it was like 7 years ago. Wound up running a marathon. So I'm in my mid-50s doing that one. And I was like, I wonder if I could still do this thing. So I did that for that. And there was a few other reasons got tossed into the whole thing. But I know the second time I ran it, actually. So I ran it in 1991 and 1992, a long time ago. First time I ran it, I was like, I couldn't believe I ran the damn thing. I always did it because I needed to lose weight. I quit smoking and put on weight. I did all the rest of that kind of stuff. I was like, I did that. And then the next year I did it again to see if I really did it. I still couldn't believe that I completed a 26.2 miles. I did it. Business world, getting up there, giving presentations, okay? Giving presentations when you're delivering bad news, different thing. But don't let that imposter thing hold you back. use that as a way of motivating yourself. You don't have to share it with everybody. You have to share it with a soul. But just go ahead and do those things. Have the confidence to fail. Have the confidence for that less than desired outcome. We'll use that word. Have the confidence where you're out and you're doing something and you're doing something for the first time, but you're going into it with the attitude, it's like, I'm going to do this for the first time. May not come out exactly as you wanted to, but do it. And look, if it's a business situation and you're presenting a new product, you're sitting down with a new client, you're sitting down with a client that's a much more complicated situation than what you're normally used to do, or maybe another comfort zone for you to get out of, would be working with somebody, having a partner sit down there with you and discussing it that way and going that route and bringing in the resources that you need in order for that to happen. That's not a sign of weakness. That's a sign of strength. That's a sign of knowing what you don't know. And that, my friends, will help you get further, much further than anything else by knowing what you don't know, not just taking a guess at doing something, but actually knowing what it is that you don't know and pulling the resources to make it work and to make that situation work. And then learn from it. And then maybe next time you could do it alone. Maybe next time you want to do it alone. Maybe a couple of times down the road, you're the one reaching out to somebody else and to give them the assistance that they need for you to go and do it. So now, not only do you know the topic, you're no longer an imposter, you no longer have that feeling there, but you become a teacher, you become a resource. And that's even better. That is even better. So today's Thursday. Mike, Doug, good afternoon to you guys. Always a pleasure. Actually, I'm kind of kind of going along. I was like, oh, it's Friday. It's not Friday. I'm just pretty darn excited about whatever, about things going along. So maybe I'm moving a week along a little bit quicker than what was, but I got a few things that are on the horizon that are very, very much looking forward to. And some of that does fall into that. Oh, imposter syndrome is like, there's no way. There's just no way I could do it. But then again, you keep moving forward, you don't give up, you try something new, and then things kind of happen. You just never know what they're going to be. So just keep going along with that. So yesterday I had read in the morning Toastmasters. Let's go back to that. But Toastmasters, for their magazine, they have a magazine. It's a digital magazine. Well, it used to be a physical magazine, but they digitized it. So I think it's only that way. Maybe you can get a copy. It doesn't really make a difference, whatever it was. But they were looking for people that do podcasts and wanted to include somebody, in their magazine. So I ran across this article for the first time, and it comes out imposter syndrome. It's like, oh, really, I can't submit for something like that. It's like, what am I doing here? I've changed topics around a little bit since we got started just about 2 years ago, talking about COVID, talking about different things that you should know as a small business owner, what events to go to digitally, what events you should go to, what conferences to listen to, what presentations, seminars, webinars, whatever that we should be listening to get some ideas of what in the world COVID-19 really was, what the extent of it was going to be. Who knew? How to deal with it, from your employee perspective, how to be sensitive to what's going on outside of the office or outside of their home environment or inside of their home environment. There were so many considerations in that one. I knew I was not the person to share the information on that one, but I wanted to become the resource. And then it changed it up. Then all of a sudden it switched over to a whole nother topic. Started talking about different events that different groups of people were doing. Started talking about the auto racing, the drag racing out east. Started talking about the HIA trade show, the Millville trade show, Miller Business Center, Small Business Development Center. Got involved with marketing groups. I was like, man, I was talking about all of these things. Having guests, not having guests. Like, uh, could I really submit to something like this? What am I going to say? Yeah, been doing it for 2 years, and I flipped around 1,000,001 different times on the topic of what I was talking about. So I was like, ah. And yesterday came along. I looked at it again. Deadline, February, today's the 10th. It was February 9th. I had until midnight, whatever, midnight in Colorado. They're out in Colorado, so like 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was. But I had that deadline. It was February 9th for this thing. And I thought to myself, why not? What have I got to lose? I've done other things that were riskier. We use that word, more out of the comfort zone than sending this thing in. So I sent it in. I have no idea. I would be, well, honestly, I'd be surprised if I got picked because I'm sure there's a whole lot of other people there doing things that are a lot more professional minded, than this. But that also means I'm making assumptions of what my audience is. So maybe I'm selling myself short on that one. Don't sell yourself short. Got to understand what your audience is looking for. I have no idea what they're looking for. Maybe they're looking for somebody who does stuff at home. Maybe they're looking for somebody that just wants to share their own thoughts. Maybe they're looking for somebody that's not in the professional business of doing podcasts or TV shows or anything like that. But they're looking for somebody who'll do more of a ground up thing. Maybe they are. Maybe they're not. Don't know. But I submitted it. That was pretty darn exciting, submitting that thing. I don't know where it'll go. I did make it into it once before. I was on vacation. I took the Toastmaster magazine with me. I went caving. I brought the magazine with me. I had somebody take my photo, and I submitted that to Toastmasters. Those people, except for the fact that it was really dark, so I couldn't see their facial expressions. But they must have thought I was out of my friggin' mind. Here I am in some country, in a cave, and it's dark and it's wet, and I was like, oh, wait a second. Here's my Toastmaster magazine. Please take my photo. I did. We did. Submitted it, sent it up, the rest of that stuff. Well, in my mind, I might have thought that they thought I was nuts. Nobody said a word to me. Who knows? Maybe somebody in there thought it was a great idea. I was like, how cool is that? What a way to memorialize that trip with some club that he's involved with. I don't know what they knew. Maybe people thought I was crazy for doing it. Maybe they just thought it was, you know what? Guys living in the moment. I don't know. It's all preconceived notions. It's our notions of what somebody else is thinking. Forget it. Just forget it. It doesn't really matter. Even to a great extent in business, it doesn't really matter. Because if you're serving a clientele that you really want to serve and it makes sense for you to serve it. Serve it. Stick to your guns and serve it. You got to make sure you're not breaking the law any place or doing anything nuts like that. So, those disclaimers tossed into the equation. But, if you really want to have a restaurant that is, I don't know, decadent, where every dessert is, 1,000 calories or more, and that fits your lifestyle and that fits your style of cooking or baking, and that's really what you want to do, then by all means do it. Celebrate it. Share it. Who's coming to that place? Maybe people who just like eating high calorie desserts on an ongoing basis. Maybe people who eat high calorie desserts every once in a while for a special occasion. But if that's what you want to be known for, well, then that's what you want to be known for. So be it. Flip side around, you want to go totally on the health food side of things? Do it. Do it, but do it. Truly embrace it. I think, though, when we try to be all things to all people, when we try to fit into the mold of the rest of what you think that people expect from you, and you try to be, satisfying the needs of so many people, I don't think that's going to get you anyplace. It's too much. It's too much. So that imposter syndrome, let's go back to that, right? It's okay to continue to move out. It's okay to say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. But know deep down inside that you've spent an awful lot of time, energy, and effort to get to that point, to be able to do that. I spent an awful lot of time doing these things, and I had the right capability and I think the credibility to send in that article. If it gets chosen, doesn't get chosen, I don't necessarily care. But it really was up to me in order to do or to not do with that. So you just got to keep going with it. And I had another phone call yesterday that was pretty darn interesting. So, I've been talking about the drag racing out east. Well, got on one of our phone calls, the question was posed to me, would I be interested in announcing the races on a more of a steady basis as it comes up this year? What do you think my response was on that? Absolutely. What do you think my response was last year when they were looking for a volunteer to do it? Like, I thought about it. It's like, wow, wouldn't that be exciting? Then the other thought process, well, what do I really know about drag racing? Uh, well, but wouldn't it be exciting one out? Because I went out and I did it. And then I did a whole lot of time spent over here learning about what exactly is drag racing, the cars, how it's set up, and all the rest of that stuff. The difference between the, I'm use the word professional, but the funny cars and the dragsters, the professional, those sponsored cars, and the ones that you would see on TV versus those that are showing up at an eighth of a mile track with no grip on the track. Who even knew what that was? I didn't know what that was. Or the junior dragsters, 6-year-olds racing cars? Well, I went into that knowing that I didn't know. There was quite a few people that kind of helped me along over there as to how to announce it when I was in the booth. They announced, thanks, Doug. Sometimes I shouldn't look at those notes. You go wheelchair in there, man. We'd have wheelchair races. Hey, maybe we'll do that. And Charles, hey, Charles, man, it's an absolute pleasure over here. No, it really doesn't. One day just wafts into the other. Yeah, it does waft into the other. And it's those cumulative experiences that help us go through that. So I went down there that day. I went down there. Actually, I went there one day last year on the whole thing. I was like, yeah, you need a volunteer. Count me in. It doesn't matter that I've been asked to be a sports announcer on a radio show, and I accepted it, and then I turned it down because I couldn't talk the talk that had to do with football, baseball, and all the other stuff. Basketball. I was like, I can't talk the talk. Oh, I know. I know some of you are thinking, dude, really? Well, the answer is yes, really. I just can't really talk the talk. Auto racing has always been of some interest to me. Can I really talk the talk? The answer is no. I really can't talk the talk. I understand it. I see it. I enjoy the stories behind the whole thing. And that was fascinating last year. But when that opportunity came up this year, it only came up this year because of what I volunteered for last year, going a little bit beyond the comfort zone, going into that world of imposter syndrome. It's like, man, I could do this, and now a little bit more so. So the question truly is over here. Are you holding yourself back with that imposter syndrome thing? It's obviously a lot more prevalent because it came up in that open networking meeting than what I ever imagined it was. And maybe that was a good thing, the you are not alone kind of thing. Well, you know what? It was person after person after person said, yes, yeah, I have to deal with that also. And it was a public setting. Again, we're there to refer business to people. And then you're telling me that you feel like you're faking it? It's like, yikes. Yikes. Until we all admitted to at some level that, yeah, we are faking it. But know that you are at a level because of what you have done. Look, I could walk into an operating room. I can't fake that. That's stupid. That's not a good thing, to go and do. Can I get on a microphone someplace? The answer is yes. Comfortable getting on a microphone because of everything else that led up to it. Will I exactly know that topic that's there? No. I can learn that topic. I can learn the facts side of it, the story side of it. I have an interest in that. So you know what? It does work. It's a different thing. If you're going to ask me to explain exactly how an engine works, about traction control and all the rest of that stuff. Nope, couldn't do it. Definitely couldn't do it. But I'll continue to learn that. As I'm sure you will continue to learn whatever it is that you need to continue to learn in order for you to further yourself along that way. So this way you always have deep inside of you that little bit of that imposter syndrome, but not at this level, not at this level, but at this one and this one and this one. As you continue to move higher and higher and get more and more knowledge about your industry. So you become not the one that calls on somebody else to say, could you come with me because I got this thing coming up and I really could use your help. But you get to that point where you become the mentor, where you become the person that's going to turn around to the person next to you and say, hey, I remember when I was in that situation. I remember that first time that I got on a TV show or a microphone. I was in front of a camera. But I could help you out. I get it. I know what you're feeling. I know where that is. And that, my friends, I think ultimately is the greatest key to success of them all. It's not just what your knowledge is. It's not even just your caring level on different things. What it is it's you really understanding what that other person is doing from their shoes coming out. And now you're able to throw in your caring, your compassion with them. Now you're able to throw in your knowledge with that. Now you're able to complete a really complete picture, one that nobody will ever question your authenticity, your sincerity, or your credibility as you continue on that path. Which leads me to a rather interesting challenge, a little interesting moment that I got coming up. So now if we go all the way back in time, Islip Speedway, I had a 1974 Capri. Yes, that's right, little four-cylinder Capri. I raced that car around that track, and I actually beat the car that I was racing against. It's a 57 Chevy. I remember it clearly. Scared the bejeebies out of myself as I came around that first and second turn. Came up slow, real close to that wall, but I kept accelerating. Well, I was doing maybe 30 miles an hour. I mean, you'd keep accelerating too. Then I came into that third turn and I was okay. I'm turning that wheel and I think I was still accelerating. And there in front of me was that 57 Chevy, the back end of it. And then he started fishtailing and I was still accelerating. I wound up passing that guy. Well, I won. I know what it's like to win. I know what it's like to pass somebody on the outside and going around a circle track once. I also went out and did go-kart racing. Yeah, no, not the 10-mile-an-hour go-karts. These things did 45 miles an hour. And let me tell you something, that's faster than you might imagine. We were in a parking lot in Englishtown, New Jersey, racing these cars for about an hour, switching off two different drivers. Had a ball doing it. I was terrible at it. We didn't finish last, but let's just say we were not in the top 10. I think we're in the bottom 20% in this whole thing. But whoa, what a learning experience that was. So now I have road course experience. I have oval experience, road course experience. What about that drag racing thing? I've never done that. Well, seems that we're going to have to make a change on that one. So we're going to go drag racing this year. We're going to get behind that car and race down that track. And I don't know, Doug, I got a feeling racing in wheelchairs would probably be the safest thing for the two of us. But who knows? Maybe we'll get in a real car and race down that track and see what it feels like to actually wait for that light to go from yellow to green and then go and race down that eighth of a mile track and see how fast we could do that. And also see how fast our reaction time was with the light. And also learn what it's like to be in somebody else's shoes. I'm sure that'll help me in my quest to get through that imposter syndrome when it comes to announcing these things. Man, that's going to be a whole lot of fun. So today's a good day. Well, yesterday was a great day. We'll see what tomorrow holds. And tomorrow's Friday. Enjoy it and get outside. Northeast over here, Long Island area. Very nice outside. It's in the 40s. Get a little sunshine. Oh, maybe tomorrow we'll talk about walking on sunshine. Yeah, Crohn's colitis walks. All the rest of that stuff's coming up. Another microphone opportunity. You see a common thread here? Hey, my friends, do what you do best. Speak well, speak often, and live inspired.